the area.
In the shifting sands of north-central Libya, the confusion of conflict is sweeping through the rebellion, where it has reached and where it is going. The mass build-up of men and heavy weapons continues from the rebel side, and men of all ages and from all backgrounds have answered the call to arms. The new front line is near here in the small town of Bin Jawad, where the momentum of the rebel advance has been halted by Gaddafi's forces.
They stay in the house and take all the families in front of them and start to shoot us. So that make us get behind a little. We can't shoot, because if we shoot, it's a random. If we shoot, we may kill some of the families.
But it's an unpredictable area where accurate information is scarce. Territory is changing hands frequently, and the threat of infiltration and counterattack is high. The speed and relative ease it took the rebels to reach her has taken everyone by surprise. Gaddafi's hardcore, well-trained units are about 180 kilometres down this road. They are said to be equipped with a vast array of high-tech weaponry, and those with military knowledge are wondering when and not if they're going to use it. Gaddafi forces have been spotted in the area, and although opposition fighters seem unfazed, locals are aware of what lies ahead.
What about if they go to Sirte? And Sirte people, 100% they are waiting for these people. Really, I didn't know, maybe people without, they cut the half of them.
The nearby town of Ras Lanuf has changed hands several times. It's now held by the rebels. According to locals, Gaddafi's men simply withdrew. Now most here are leaving, fearful of what is going to happen.
We are stuck in the middle between both sides and don't know where the bombs are coming from.
What started as a civil uprising is developing into an armed struggle, but not yet a civil war that many fear. The sound of jets above sends the rebels into defense mode, firing wildly into the air at a target they cannot see.
There's a military plane. We're afraid of him. Let him, we come here to die.
But only 2 bombs that we know of were dropped, and both missed the large concentrations of fighters and hit the desert, and no one was hurt. Some are wondering whether the pilots are deliberately missing in sympathy with the rebellion. It's one of the many puzzling aspects to this conflict. Fighters, though, say Bin Jawad is only a temporary hold-up. They are preparing to take the fight onwards through Sirte, then Misrata, and then finally Tripoli. No one here, however, predicts what tomorrow may bring. Tony Bertley, AlJazeera, near Bin Jawad, north-central Libya.
Well, we have our correspondent on the ground in Libya, and Jackie Rowland is live for us in AlJazeera. But first, we can cross over to Huda Abdelhamid, who's live for us in Benghazi. So, Huda, what more can you tell us about this contact that's been made between an envoy to Muammar Gaddafi and the opposition National Council?
Well, a senior member of the Opposition National Council tells us that, in fact, this contact has been established. Now, the proposal coming out of Tripoli is that the Gaddafi calls for a special session of the Popular Congress or Parliament. During that session, he would resign, and then he would pass on authority to a committee formed by the parliament. Now, he wants in exchange for that, according to our source, guarantees. Those guarantees means that he has a safe passage for him and his family to go and live abroad, that he won't be prosecuted, nor his family would be prosecuted for any war crimes, and that some of his assets won't be frozen. Now, from what we understand here from the Opposition National Council, they still haven't given a straight answer. They still haven't completely rebuffed that offer, but they do say that they first want to know that he steps down, and then they may consider not prosecuting him or not freezing all of his assets.
Okay, Huda Abdelhamid bringing us the latest there from Benghazi. Thank you. We can now cross over to Jackie Rowland, who's live for us in AlJazeera. Jackie, listening to Huda talking there about the contact that's been made between an envoy to Muammar Gaddafi and the Libyan Opposition Council. From your end, are people giving you a sense in any way that they'll look to accept an offer of Gaddafi stepping down at this point?
Well, the real motivation behind all these young men who are volunteering to join the fight against the Gaddafi forces is to see the removal of Muammar Gaddafi himself. It's very personal. You feel that these men really do have a personal grudge against Muammar Gaddafi, and the kind of slogans that you hear chanted in the streets are specifically directed at him. I think that many of the young men might feel in a way that there's a certain amount of dealing going on behind their backs if there was some kind of an agreement whereby Gaddafi could somehow get off the hook. But as I said, the main motivation, the main reason why people are rallying to the call and driving often in their own cars down to the front line and being given weapons and joining in the fight is to see the removal of Gaddafi. And I think the idea that he could somehow abscond with certain portions of Libya's wealth would not go down particularly well with them.
And Jackie, tell us what's going on the ground there in AlJazeera, because there are reports of the rebels being pushed back from key western towns. What are you seeing over there?
Well, AlJazeera, where I am, is some distance, a couple of hundred kilometres away from the front line, really. But what we're hearing from Bin Jawad, the town that Tony Bertley just mentioned in his report, this is really the focus now of the intense fighting in this part of Libya. Gaddafi forces still hold on to the town. Rebels who've attempted to take it say that they've been subjected to sniper fire, in one case from the minaret of a mosque. They also say that the Gaddafi forces are using extremely heavy weapons, disproportionate force was how it was described to me, against them as they try to take the town. And in fact, they're also experiencing attacks from pro-Gaddafi forces against the rebel town of Ras Lanuf. Ras Lanuf is a town which has changed hands a couple of times, but it has pretty consistently in recent days been in rebel hands. But it does appear that the Gaddafi forces are using attack as a means of defence. They are attacking the rebels in Ras Lanuf as part of their efforts to prevent the rebel forces from advancing on Bin Jawad.
So are there fears at all that the rebel commanders are losing ground or losing momentum in their fight?
Not losing ground, but there are concerns about their ability to push forward much beyond Bin Jawad. Bin Jawad, this is really the strongest resistance that the rebels have faced as they've been progressing west along the coastline. And it's thought this is because Bin Jawad does lie perilously close to Sirt, the Gaddafi stronghold, just 180 kilometers east of Sirt. Now, Sirt is crucial for Gaddafi for a couple of reasons. Firstly, it's the base of his tribe, the people who are most loyal to him. That's one key reason why he wouldn't want that town to be in any way jeopardized. But also, there's a big military base there, a lot of heavy equipment, we understand. And there are fears that if that equipment and that base fell into rebel hands, then pretty much it would be game over for Gaddafi, and the rebels could have a fairly straight run along the coast towards Tripoli.
All right, Jackie Rowland, thank you very much. Well, the UK and France are pushing for a UN-backed no-fly zone. America's top military official Mike Mullen says that setting it up in Libya would be extraordinarily complicated. And here's what's needed to set it up. First, the enforcers have to outline which aircraft are banned from flight. In Bosnia in 1993, it was all fixed wing.